I think there's going to be a good amount of people who click on this video who are wondering, who the hell is Wyatt Teller? And honestly, it's a fair question. Before this season, he was pretty much an unknown. He was a 5th round pick 3 years ago, and up until this season, he's kind of played like it. Not terrible, but was expected to be the weak link of this offensive line. This year, we've seen a complete turnaround, and he's debatably been the best player on a really good offensive line. So, what's happened? Like, if you use Pro Football Focus, for example, I know some people don't like Pro Football Focus. I personally, I take them for what they are. I think they're pretty good at giving you a general idea of what a player is. Last year, he had really a mediocre grade. His grade was 56.7. That is average. This year, he's had a 95.6 grade. That's absolutely absurd. So, what happened? How has this worked out the way it has? I started watching tape, and honestly, it's not like what you would think necessarily when you see a breakout star. This guy is making splash plays. He's making highlight reel level blocks as much as you can for an offensive lineman. Take a look at this play. He's going up one-on-one against Fletcher Cox. That's not a great situation, and it's about to get worse. First, watch how Teller is able to really kind of do what you see Green Bay do this a lot, where he's basically just grabbing a hold of the inside of the jersey of Fletcher Cox. And you're not going to call it a hold unless Cox is able to get to the outside, and, then he would actually be holding Cox backwards. Whereas here, yes, he is technically holding on to the pads, but it's not a penalty because he's grabbing on there, but he's not actually pulling Cox, which really that's the penalty, is pulling more so than holding. However, as you see, 96 is going to get in the mix here. He's going to basically bash into Teller, which, again, that seems like a bad situation. There easily could be 2 Philadelphia players who get cleared up here. But when he hits Teller's able to get his right hand over there and basically take on 2 guys at once, one of them being one of the best tackles in the league in Fletcher Cox, and basically just taking them out of the play. I mean, that's really a veteran style move to get Cox out of position, and he's taking on another guy that he wasn't expecting to hit him. I mean, that's an incredible play. This play's another incredible play. This is going to be a twist right here. So basically, both your defensive tackles, they're going to start off just running into the guys who you would think they would run into. The one on the right was going to go straight into the center. The one on the left is going to go straight into the guard, which is Teller. But then they're going to just twist around. And basically, the hope is that either Teller or the center don't realize what's going on and get fooled here. But really, focus on Teller here. Watch how he's just going to so perfectly push Cox off and get over to block 57, really just perfectly. I mean, it's like he knew that play was coming the whole time. And I know it wasn't shouted out beforehand or something, because you see that J.C. Tretter, the center, who's actually usually very good, he kind of got fooled a bit on this one, but Teller was able to figure out what was going on quicker than Tretter was, despite the fact that I think everyone thought that Tretter would be the better player coming into this season. So I was trying to figure it out. What is it? Why did this happen? How does this happen? And I think I figured it out. I think I have a pretty good theory for why he wasn't as good last year and he's much better this year. And the reason? Because of who's next to him. Cleveland has vastly improved their tackle play, largely by signing Jack Conklin, who is now next to Teller. And I've already talked about, you have a great center, now you have a great right tackle. That makes things easier for a right guard, especially one like Teller, who honestly specializes on his awareness and his strength and doesn't necessarily have the best footwork. Like, take a look at this play. So you see Zach Cunningham is going to blitz here, so he's going up one-on-one against the guard. If I'm playing the Cleveland Browns, this is how I try to get pressure. I use a linebacker who is quick, or even a defensive back against Teller. I also am going to have a defensive tackle line up against the center and be to the center's left, so that would be to the right side of the screen. As you see, that's what Houston is doing now, because I want Teller to be out on an island, essentially. Watch how Cunningham runs in a little bit, and he's kind of faking as though he's going to the right a little bit, and so, again, Teller, I'm telling you, where he struggles the most is going to be with his footwork, and especially with a linebacker like Zach Cunningham, who has incredible footwork. he's going to use this to his advantage. Watch how Cunningham steps to the left and is able to just shove Teller back. That's not because Teller got overpowered. It's because he didn't have his feet planted the way he wanted to, and he was off balance. And that's how Cunningham was able to beat him. This one's another example. Once again, this is Teller going up against Corey Lugic this time. It's just a one-on-one matchup. But again, Houston is sort of kind of spreading things out and essentially trying to get Teller to have as much space he has to cover as possible. You're going to see Lugic sort of fake as though he's stepping to our right, which is his left. And again, you see sort of how out in front Teller is. Teller is ready to block Lugic if he's in this position. But for Lugic, he's just going to try a swim move here and try to use his footwork to get around Teller. But again, keep in mind the space he has to cover here. Where the center is blocking to his left, you have a tackle who got a chip on his side of the screen, so he's even further over than he typically would be trying to block JJ Watt. So now for Teller, he just has so much space he has to cover here that there's just so much room for a defensive tackle to try to get around Teller, whereas typically a defensive tackle, you don't have that much room to operate, so you can't really use your footwork to get around guards the way you might want to. Lugic is able to get around, again, using footwork there more than anything, and he gets the sack on Baker Mayfield, and that looks like a bad play from Teller, and that's because it is. Teller is not great at those situations. But the reality is, even if you scheme up to try to get those situations as much as possible, it's hard to get them too often, and as long as Teller only has maybe one or two of those plays a game, he's going to add a ton of impact, and really, for Teller, he's in the perfect situation for him to succeed, and that's why it's exciting if you're a Cleveland Browns fan, because I think he can really just hold his own in this certain area, and the scheme isn't going to force him in that situation too often, and then he can be in the other situations where he can really thrive. Like, watch this one. It's just a one-on-one matchup against a defensive tackle. It's going to be a run blocking play, so nothing too fancy. It's a zone blocking scheme, so he's just trying to, there is no specific area he has to try to get his assigned man to not go to. It's just, you know, block him out of the way. Watch how far back he's going to push 96 here. I mean, he just drives him about 5-10 yards back easily. Just an incredible play right there. The run didn't go for much, but that's just an incredible block. And that's what I mean. He could make those blocks that make you say, oh my goodness, how did this guy go in the 5th round? It's because he does one thing poorly. And so last year, when he didn't have great tackle play next to him when he was playing, you would see that a lot more. This year, you're now seeing that he has good tackle play next to him. There's less space now, and he can really thrive with the limited space. That's what makes him great, and he's really difficult to beat. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Wyatt Teller's breakout season. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you like these videos and want to see more of them, you can subscribe to my Patreon. It's only $1 a month. I have a Baker Mayfield film study up there. I'm gonna put it up later tonight, so if that's something you're interested in, definitely check it out. The link is in the description. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.